How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are having an amazing day. Today we're going to be speaking about a new solo 90 Bommal strategy using Alsgor Crimsonhorn, who's actually the partner of Jetly the Giant, who was a fusion last year, and he was also a guaranteed in 2023 for 180 Ancient Shards. So many of you guys may have him in the vault somewhere, or you might just like using him somewhere in the game, because he is great for Clan Boss and even City of Sintranos, which was the reason why I firstly used him and then thought of this strategy in the first place. Because he actually comes through with this 4-turn cooldown block damage once booked. And I was thinking, there is some other block damage strategies out there, such as Helicaf and Kyokus and champions of that nature. But they're all spirit affinity, allowing them to grant those weak hits from the boss. And I was just thinking about the survivability, like with him being a force champion. Because champions such as Rushguard the Tower, they just struggle, right? They get strong hit to the ground and they just can't recoup enough health to get it done. But the unique part about Alsgor is he actually fully heals a target ally before placing that block damage as well. So he's just fully healing himself, being a solo option, and then placing that block damage to counter the Dread Bombs, dealing those 40% max HP hits. We just survive those and then use War Master hits to take the boss down. So yeah, the survivability is definitely there. And then another thing that I really wanted to make happen was utilizing a mortal gear over regeneration, because if we're healing by this much every single time, I wanted to make sure that the gear was accessible in terms of the gear sets alone. So that's something that was definitely on the top of my mind when building this strategy. And then outside of this, we'll just be utilizing an A1, which also heals this champion by the damage dealt by 20%. So we're getting healing from the A1, we're getting healing from here as well, and then we're just using Immortal Gear to ramp up our HP stats to survive the onslaught of the boss himself. Because we won't be dying against the Dread Bombs, we'll be dying against the Bommal Smacks, being the Force Affinity, right? So we don't have any weak hits throughout the run. And I also feel like it's important to speak about the fail conditions as well, because there definitely is one, very similar to Helicaf with his A1, where if you place an extra weaken, you therefore get more bombs on your champion, and there's a chance for failure. So a very similar effect is going to be happening here, because when he's attacked, he has a 50% chance of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff on the attacker for 2 turns. And what this is going to do is, if it procs on a 3%, which is the worst thing in the game, Ray, delete that please. It basically just takes you out of your rotation. But if you stay tuned, I will show you a way that you can save it as well if it happens to occur. But you need to keep your eye on the target to make sure that you can recoup from that bad situation. So I guess let's just talk about the gear first. We'll go into some runs, and then also stay tuned towards the end of the video. If you happen to think this strategy is not for you, you might want to use a different option, which is understandable. I'm going to break down all of the different solo variations in this game, just in case some of you guys might have one out there. So alright, we're going to be utilizing Immortal Gear, which you can get drops from the clan boss on a daily basis, if you get lucky. And we're just focusing on 3 main components, I would say. That's going to be HP percent, defense percent, and your speed stats, because this is a speed tune composition. You don't have to worry about crit rate, no crit damage, no accuracy, no resistance, literally all into those 3 stats to make this work. So we've got speed and crit rate going on here, just trying to get a little bit where we can. Some defense percent, we've got HP percent on the main stats for the gloves and the chest piece as well, with just defense in the substats. We've even gotten speed on the boots, so for many of you guys that can reach the speed thresholds without speed boots, you can even get him even more tankier to survive it better from the raw hits of Bommal. We've also got HP on the banner. We've got defense here on the amulets, and then we've got HP on the ring with some nice substats around the boards. And then in terms of total stats, we've got nearly 100,000 HP. I would say that the baseline that I've seen from my playtest is around 95,000. And I know that it seems pretty high, it's pretty crazy, but this is why I wanted to make sure that Immortal is something you could consider. Because trying to reach those stat thresholds without this, you're not getting that bonus from the regeneration, you're just getting the heal values. Therefore, you might not be able to reach the stats that you want in that gear set. So if we just go and look for it now. So where's regeneration? There we go. So you only heal by 15% every turn, which is great, but you're not getting the plus 15% from the stat boost of the gear set, right? So as you see, we're getting 45% just from the stats alone, right? From the Immortal. And then we got HP percent. You can even do it on the boots, as I mentioned before, if you can reach the speed without this. And then because we're not focusing on other stats such as crit rate, crit damage, accuracy, and resistance, you will find that it's a lot easier to reach this than you may have thought in the first place. But it's definitely still very high, but remember, this is M piece of content and Bommal smacks like a truck. And I think this is a similar HP to what you need for Helicaf as well, so very similar themes going on here. Defense at 3.6k, I say a baseline around 3.5 to be safe. And then 221 speed, which is the baseline, guys. You cannot go any lower than this because when we consider the masteries that we're using, it's going to put us at a 239 ratio. And I believe you can sit between 239 and 247 as the true speeds to take this boss down. And then I'll speak about some of the different speeds as well for stage 50 and stage 10 a little bit later on. Masteries, we've gotten all the way down to War Master. If I just move myself out the way, there we go. Pretty cool. And then we've also gone the defensive tree just to get some blast proof in there to survive some AoE attacks because once again, we're surviving the dread bombs, but it's just the smacks from Bommal that we're trying to mitigate here. So yeah, simple as that, guys. And then the main component is also Whirlwind of Death. And this is giving us a bonus 18 speed once we go into the battle. So of course, if you're not utilizing this, you'll have to factor in 18 extra speed to make it a 239 for the speed tune. But because we're using that mastery, it allows us to drop that speed down. Therefore, we can invest more into HP percent with our substats here. So yeah, I guess that was the gear, the stats, and the masteries and everything I feel like you need to know in order to build Alsgor Crimsonhorn. And let's go and see how this is set up now against the boss itself. So Doom Tower, let's go all the way up into hard 90. I was just trying to get up to the top floor, get another Sacred Shard. Been trying to get that Archer, which never happens to proc for me. Okay, this is the team here. So you want to be utilizing a HP percent aura. This could be your Jareg if you want it to be. Jareg's got a very good aura, or just the best aura that you have on your accounts. But this is just giving you that extra layer of survivability for your team. And then the reason for these other 3 champions is just for his mastery procs once again. I guess I should have showed you that before. If we just go recently used, can we find Alsgor? There he is. So there's this mastery that can make him deal more damage. It's not going to be crazy significant. So with the Wrath of Slain, increases damage inflicted by 5% for each dead ally and will stack up to 10%. So we're just trying to get an extra 10% boost in terms of damage, right? Just trying to speed up our runs, because it is very time consuming. So in terms of Deliana, you just want to make sure that you're locking off the A2, which is a single target, because we want to use the A1 and A3 to try and take the HP down of those waves. And then following from that, it just allows Alsgor to just one by one take them out to kill those 3 enemies that you need for those mastery procs. And then here you can just do whatever you like on these next waves as well. It's just mainly for the wave 1. And then Alsgor Crimsonhorn, we just want to lock off this ability on round 1 and 2 because we do want to save that cooldown for once we're against the boss, right? Well, I guess you could potentially use it if you need to because we are going to be cycling 3 A1s before we click auto, right? Against Bommal himself. But I just locked it off anyway just to keep it safe for full auto. And then on this one here, we just want to disable the A2. Because this can actually place a continuous heal buff on this champion. And that's just an extra buff that Bommal's going to want to remove. Therefore, you're going to be getting more bombs on your champion. So you just want to take this off. And first priority this. And then also the A1 ability to heal this champion as well. And then these dudes could be whatever you want. But of course, we'll speak about who you could switch out later on in today's video. So throughout this run, basically, we just need to kill 3 champions in total to make the full use of that Whirlwind of Death mastery and, you know, get our speed that we need for when we come up against the boss. But let me know in the comment section below, guys, what kind of strategies have you been focusing on to take down Bommal the Dreadhorn? Because he's definitely a super hard boss to do if you don't have some of those key components, which I'll discuss later, right? But I just feel like even though that there is many strategies out there now, like the Nishak Vermin Lord one-shot made things so much easier, and also the Lady Annabelle's and so many more, I just feel like it's really cool just to see new strategies come to fruition, and I'm sure many of you guys that watch the videos enjoy that stuff as well, right? Like, even if you don't want to replicate it, just seeing another champion do something that's so annoying to face. Here we go. We're getting some provokes. And who makes up these waves, Raid? Like, I've seen one with Skull Lord Vargal, right? And they just reduce your max HP before you even face the boss. It's like, they're setting us up for failure, not success. Terrible. It's okay. Let's go. We're nearly there. If these coroners stop provoking us. Counterattacks. Nice. I think we need to kill... Did we kill enough? I think we killed 3, right? If not, hopefully we can just get this final hit on this coroner here. Because remember, you need to kill 3 of those champions. There we go. So once you come up against the boss, what do you need to do? Well, I'll break it down as 3 instances before clicking auto, as we mentioned with the presets. Did I even mention the presets? Yeah, I guess it was just first priority on Resounding Rally. I don't even think I explained that. My bad, guys. So basically, on wave 3, you want to lock this off with presets, the round 2, with the Crack the Sky. And then you want to be first prioritizing the Resounding Rally, because this ability here can actually place a continuous heal. So this is an extra buff that the boss is going to want to swap out for bombs. So just make sure that you're disabling this, right? So we're going to do 3 instances of A1s. So just do A1s. Doesn't really matter what Deliana does. She's going to die anyway. So this is number 2. There we go. She's going to die now. And now 3. And this is going to put us in a situation right now for clicking auto. He's going to fully heal himself, as we mentioned, with that A3. And it's just going to continue this cycle for the entirety of the run. So, yeah. Pretty self-sailing, right? It's pretty cool. I would say like one of the downsides is that RNG of that 3% proccing with the decreased speed on his passive, like I mentioned before. But I'll discuss how we can save that and also how you can speed it up to maybe mitigate the chance of that occurring. Because over a 50-minute run, you might probably see it. Like, I did a few runs back to back, and it did happen multiple times. I would say I did around 7 runs or so, and it definitely happened around 3, where the decreased speed occurred. So I guess like one upside is you only have to get it done once, right? And if you don't have other options, you could look towards Alsgor Crimsonhorn. I would say that he's not the problem. The 3% is the problem, right? Because we don't have the accuracy, as you've seen, to even place that debuff on the enemy. So there we have it, guys. 3 million damage on Alsgor Crimsonhorn, taking down the hardest boss in the game in terms of Bommal the Dreadhorn. So really cool to see a new strategy come to fruition. So as promised, I do want to speak about the cons now of how it can go wrong with that decreased speed debuff placing, and also how you can save it. So let me bring up a quick video. So this is one where I actually captured it, right? So I was recording a run and I wanted to see if I could still get a success rate by just doing one little manual encounter here and there for anyone that just wants to watch the strategy happening, right? So as you're going to see at the top, a decreased speed is going to place from that passive, right? So at some point here, I believe it's around this point. So there we go. 2-turn decreased speed. We do not want to see this, and you're going to see how it's going to be affecting the turn order looking forward now. So we're going to go boom. And then you can still follow the same cycle here. So it's completely fine because we're tuned according to the Dread Bombs, not Bommal. And did you see what happened there? It messed up that full rotation. I don't know why the Dread Bombs exploded like that, but here we go. So boom, he cuts in, boom, that decreased speed just messes him up. We're going to go in with the A1 again here. I don't know what I was doing here, just waiting. But then we could just click auto and I'll show you what happens here. So A1s. We're going to do one more A1 here, and you can see now we're a little bit behind of these Dread Bombs, right? We still need to take one more ability, but because we slowed the boss down, we can't afford him to strip our buffs off our champion, right? So what we're going to do here is actually delay it by one more turn. So if you see the decreased speed place at that given moment, you just stop the run, do some A1s, and just make sure you delay it one more time in this instance here. So we're going to see here, I'm going to go with the A1. Then he's going to do that ability. But if he does that and we've got the block damage and full auto, he's just going to strip those buffs off, right? And then now we can just go back straight into our routine again. And he's got no decreased speed to affect us here. So, yeah. And you could just save yourself by doing that. I believe there's one instance where it cannot occur. But there is like definitely 2 or 3 ways where you could place the decreased speed and save it. So we're just going to go through here. Let's forward it just to show you guys that this was a completion here. There we go. And look, we even got another decreased speed right at the end here, right? And then we just know, oh, we're just going to do some A1s again, follow the same kind of cycle. Like, we could have just done a block damage and saved ourselves, but I just chose to do another A1 to take the boss down. So if that does happen to occur with that 3%, yes, there is ways to save it, but you would rather just have a full auto run, and it'll be a lot more easier, right? So let's go into some other options now to speed up this one. So let's just take this off. So where those 3 rare champions was, they're just random to boost our damage, whatever it is. But there's so many champions such as Guys the Gleefulls, War Mothers, Astroliths, you name it, the Soul Drinkers, that can actually come through and do a big amount of damage, and then you just let them die, and then Alsgor can just solo the rest. And by doing that, you're actually reducing your chances of that decreased speed placing over that 15 minutes run. Because you've now just dealt so much damage to the boss from the jump, you're just taking it all the way down, right? You could even use a Nishak Vermin Lord, but I feel like if you've got that, you could probably do a one-shot strategy, right? With Arbiter and Ally Attack. So let's discuss options outside of Nishak, just in case anyone doesn't have that. So Soul Drinker, he basically can place these bomb debuffs, which is great. This is what we want to do to scale the boss's damage down, or to take his HP down, sorry. And then also when he dies, he'll place 2 more bombs on that enemy that detonate after 2 turns. So what you could do is have a Soul Drinker go in, place those bombs initially, let him die, place 2 more bombs, and take down so much of that HP. And then, of course, Guys the Gleefulls, War Mother's pretty good as well. She's just the wrong affinity, so you might have to roll the dice a few times, because she's magic, right? Just to make sure you can get your placement. Where's War Mother? There she is. And she's a pretty cool option as well, because this bomb damage increases by 100% against bosses. So very cool effect. So could be utilizing her with a Soul Drinker maybe, and then bring in a 3rd bomb champion as well, if you've got the luxury of that. Like a... where's Astrolith from? She's a Night Rev, right? Where's Astrolith? I do like Astrolith. Oh, no, she's a Dark Elf. Because her one doesn't require accuracy, so a bit more of an easier build, I would say. So you go through with this bomb ability, cannot be resisted. You can ramp her attack so high without the requirement of accuracy. So definitely a viable option to bring someone else like this into the mix. Or simply someone like a Newt as well. But just remember, if you drop down those max HPs, more Dread Bombs are going to come as well. And you don't want to be doing that. So yeah, that's a way to speed it up if you want to. Of course, there is a solo strategy as well, which I mentioned before, and then a way to save it if that 3% does happen to proc in your runs, which could definitely occur, right? I don't want to sugarcoat things. So, okay, let's speak about some other options now that you could use for your Bommal strategies out there. So this was an article that I put together on the website sometime last year, and it breaks down all of the different solo strategies in this game for the hardest stage of the boss. So not ones that can only do like stage 10 or stage 50, but ones that are stage 90 viable. So we've got Crimson Helm, of course, but it's a manual encounter, but definitely like a route to go if you don't have other options. Of course, there's Helicath as well, which is a very similar build to what you've seen today, but just on a Helicath instead. But this one requires regeneration. So this Alsgor Crimsonhorn one, I believe, is the only one that you could do with just a mortal. Lady Annabelle, I'd say, is probably the best solo strategy out there because she's epic, a unique passive, and she just heals by so much, and she's the right affinity. And there's also video links if you want to go and check out all the other creators as well that broke them down. Templars are farmable rare, but once again, like Crimson Helm, this is going to be a manual encounter. So if that's something that you don't want to do, of course, you'd have to look towards another strategy. Also, Kyoku could be one of the fastest solo strategies in the game, but you just need a lot of speed to make it happen. Like, it's crazy, the amount of speed that you need on it. And then also, Raf Matab can do it, but the condition is he cannot be booked. If you fully book him, I believe that he can be full auto. So another option that you could consider to take this boss down. I believe since the addition of this article, Burengiri can do it as well, but you need to put Sun Wukong in the mix, so when he keeps reviving, you're just triggering Burengiri's passive to heal by better values. And I believe that's how that strategy works anyway. So I'll leave this in the description below for anyone that does want to check out some other strategies to take down in terms of solo variations. But of course, you could do like what's the word? Like Vizier Ovelis and extend that decreased accuracy debuff and just don't take any bombs with a high resistance strategy. Or even like Nishak Verminoid one-shots or reset strategies with like multiple bomb champions. But they're more endgame builds, I would say, outside of the Nishak one. So what else did I want to speak about here in terms of the strategy that I feel like I might have missed out? Oh yeah, stage 10 and stage 50. So Saf actually, me and Saf were speaking a lot last night about trying to find the best speed tune to maybe, if the decreased speed does place, can we save it still on full auto? And we just couldn't find that pocket. But we did find the speeds that you need for the different difficulties. So it's going to be plus 12 speed to do floor 50. So you actually need more speed than this. And then, of course, you need to factor in true speeds because you're getting the extra 18 on top of that with the mastery procs, right? But in terms of just this one, you need to have plus 12. And then for Bommal 10, you need to have a minus 12. So that's all you need to think about. So this is the speed tune that you need, including the masteries for 90. Plus 12 if you want to do stage 50. And then minus 12 for stage 10. And obviously the same issues could occur with the decreased speed, but there's just no other ways around this, guys, unfortunately, because of 3%. And also, one other thing that I wanted to say is I didn't put any ascensions on my gear today, guys. So if you do have the luxury of having so much HP percent or so much defense percent, you might have a little bit of an easier time trying to ramp up your stats to reach these thresholds. But yeah, on that note, guys, I guess that's going to be all for today's video. We don't have to ramble on too much. If you did enjoy this strategy, be sure to hit that like, subscribe button. And, you know, it just lets me know that you want to see more stuff like this in the future. And if you do have any other recommendations for cool strategies, let me know in the comment section below. So I'll see you all in a video soon. Peace.